friends. And 1 second, it is deciding to start.
Countdown.
And it's connecting. And you are now live.
Excellent.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Pagan Sunday Service. I'm Mike, and
I'm Bridget from Bridget Bushman, Intuitive Healer and Tarot Reader.
And I'm Loki.
Yeah.
but entanglement divination.
I suppose.
Is that changing?
It's the same.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
You guys have such official things for you.
It's Casual Sunday.
Like Django Fett, I'm
That's
just
true.
a simple man trying to make his way in the universe.
I mean, yeah.
Welcome to Pagan Sunday Service, everyone. We are talking about, what's the title again?
Oh, what was the title again? The winter solstice, meditation, sacred stillness, alone time, mindfulness.
Mindfulness at Yule.
Thank you.
The importance of being present in the moment.
Yes.
There we go.
Can I first set the stage for where we are?
Please do.
Or are you putting it up?
I will.
Okay.
Well, you can still just
You can
show
still
the
share it.
This is the wheel of the year that I'm always harping on about, you know me, and always flapping my gums about this thing. Right now, we are just nearing the top of the wheel. We are getting close to Yule, or Arben Arthuin, on our wheel here, which in the systems in which I kind of grew up in different covens, this is part of the time of rest between Samhain and Yule, where energetically we don't do much energetic working, and it's a time of rest. Not necessarily inactivity, but energetic rest as far as our practice goes.
At Samhain, we tip the cauldron over, and it becomes the tomb, because the cauldron is like the vessel. It's the womb of the goddess, and then you flip it over at Samhain, it becomes the tomb. And so right now we are in the tomb. So what I do symbolically is I always turn my cauldrons over when I have them as a reminder that, like, right now I am going inwards into the tomb, and I'm not working on putting stuff into the cauldron, because anything that goes into the cauldron comes out transformed, but you need that time inside the ground for the seeds to germinate and everything like that.
It's a great attunement with the cycles of the earth and nature, which is what this is all about, as far as ever since 99 when I started doing paganism and attuning to the wheel of the year. This is a great way not just to mark the seasons, but to know what to do with each particular season. So if we're here on the wheel, this is the time for rest, for introspection, but also not drawing a line between rest and inactivity. Because I've also been going through a lot of like personal things. I went through a breakup and some spiritual things lately, and my temptation was to just sit around and play video games.
Time and place, though.
Yeah, and there are times for that, but it also I've been finding a lot more actual rest, deep rest, when I'm still working on my practice, just not energetically, and more of a thoughtful practice, more research, more introspection.
Yeah.
Rest is also an active thing. Like, it's not just passively not doing anything. Rest is actively like, okay, what are my intentions? What do I need in order to fully rejuvenate? It's more than just sitting around on your ass doing nothing.
Yeah, restful actions, like walking meditations. Hi, Monica. Sorry, I saw you came in. Walking meditations are good where, like, you're just intending to be in nature and paying attention, while also getting, like, a little bit of a heart rate going so that you can be in your body and feeling the trees and stuff like that. Like,
and you got to put some energy into, like, taking care of yourself for that rest. It's important, Get yourself a bath bomb. Treat yourself.
Dad says hi.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Bridget's dad.
Hi,
I love you.
Dad.
I'm wearing the rock you gave me.
Oh, hi, Dad. So while we're talking about all that stuff, so it's full moon, and it's a full moon in Gemini right now, and I just wanted to kind of like have a little conversation about what that means for everybody, because like basically what I've been looking into is about the disconnect between your mind and your thoughts and then your emotions and your heart, and then trying to find a way to bring those into balance, because this time of year I know that I've gone through like having a bit of the sads, and kind of being like, well, and then my brain comes up with lies and it makes me hurt my own feelings, and so my emotions get out of whack. And so what do you guys kind of do when you're thoughts and your emotions are like out of whack. Like,
So, I had this fun little full moon ritual last night, and I was
ooh,
like,
yeah.
Yes.
full
Tell
moon in
'em all
Gemini.
about it.
What do we do with this? Gemini is a communicative sign. It's all about like socialization and getting ideas across. It's an
Which
air
is
sign.
important when you're lonely.
Extremely. But, you know, the moon is all about that subconscious and the emotions. And it's like, well, how do we communicate with that subconscious and the emotions? And one of the ways that we do that is like pendulums, other kinds of like discussing things with the body. What we did last night was some automatic writing. And that was really cool.
That was cool.
It was a lot of fun. So yeah, your subconscious is your body. See how you can communicate with your body at this time, and communicate your body's needs as well when that's necessary with the people around you, so they can kind of help you make sure that gets taken care of. You can channel that Gemini energy constructively, even though it can be really hard to get your mind and your heart to work together. Sometimes there's a disconnect in that little communication there, and you just kind of gotta like work with it, work through it, figure it out.
Talk more about the automatic writing aspect, just for people who that might be a newer concept for. Like,
Yes.
'cause I feel like that's kind of one of those practices that not a lot of people are aware of.
Yeah, so automatic writing, many people may associate this with like channeling of various spirits, beings, aliens, angels, whatever, what have you, right? You want to first get into sort of trance state so that your conscious mind is quieted, and then have your hand and a pen and a piece of paper. A lot of people like to use their non-dominant hand for this, as it's like less connected with the thinking parts of your brain, right? And so you kind of just like rest your hand gently on the paper and let it just write automatically without thinking. You don't put words on the paper with your brain. You just let whatever comes through come through. And it's a great way to get in touch with your body, your subconscious, because that's where your subconscious lives, is in your body. And just kind of, like, it's also great for channeling, but if what you're channeling is you're conscious that it's you, that's a specific way of connecting with yourself. So.
How do you practice trust with such a thing, too? Because, like, I feel like just people that I heard when talking about like tarot or even like spirit boards or like automatic writing, there sometimes is this like fear of, but who's in control when that happens? So why don't you speak to that a little bit more? Because I always say things about how like it is you who's in control, but when they hear that I'm channeling somebody through me to the page, that's when people tend to get a little nervous about it. So talk more about that and about trust.
Yeah. So the way we channel, right, in the first place is we find the thread within us that connects to whatever it is that we're channeling. At the same time, the universe is one being, right? And so we always have access to that oneness, that source energy that we are part of. So in a sense, no matter what you're channeling, that's also you. That's a thread that runs through you, that is naturally part of you anyway. But if that's really a major concern for anyone, you just state your intention out loud. I want to communicate with my body, with my subconscious, whatever it is. Stating your intentions out loud helps to focus that and just really kind of make sure you're taken care of in that sense.
I love it. Did you want to talk more about the wheel? Because we have some cool like symbols. Did it get put up?
I can.
I shared an image.
Awesome.
Link to it.
So if you can access the image here on the wheel, we're here in the north. The correspondence, the elemental correspondence for the north is air.
In our tradition, that
In our tradition.
we grew up in, because it's a little bit different for some other.
Oh yeah, some people have the south in the north.
The
You don't have the south.
the south and the north.
They have earth in the north. We have earth in the south. Oh,
That
good
was funny.
heavens.
You're okay.
One thing I like to do, no matter what time of year it is to do the elemental correspondences for whatever you're doing. Again, this thing is a roadmap on what you should be doing or could be doing, wish to be doing, during any particular time of the year. And it lets you attune to nature. And so at this time of year, considering air, and rest and research, that sort of thing, because air is also associated with knowledge and researching new ideas.
Communication, like what you were just talking about with.
So clearing mental clutter is one thing that you could consider air as a perfect correspondence this year. But how could you also do the other things? You don't have to wait until midsummer to work with the south in this tradition. In the south, you could still you could find stability in earth even in the even at this time of year. Just use your earth correspondence to be like, what is your stable base now? Which is going to be different than it is at Letha.
Yeah.
Same with your like cleansing your emotional state
Yes.
with water, which would be set in the west. And we're not in the west on the wheel right now, but we can use the correspondence of water to consider where our emotions are right now. And the fire, you can talk about the passion and warmth of fire without actually engaging in the actions right now. It's still more of a planning thing. Because fire looks very different now than it does at Beltane,
Yes.
for example, that sort of thing.
It's the hearth fire and the campfire that's keeping you warm in the cold. You're not like building it up huge or anything. It's not a bonfire, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
still there.
Aries is the fire that we need to start the year off. Leo is the fire that like is just sustaining itself in the summer, and then Sagittarius would be the fire that needs the campfire, and you come back together for community.
Yeah.
Can I talk about that with these and that? Because I feel like that like goes in really well with what I wanted to talk about. So, on our wheel, we're at Yule, but as of today, we're not quite to Yule yet. We are building up to it. So, we just got out of Scorpio, and Scorpio in tarot is the death card. And that's talking all about like the transitional phases. And so I feel like a lot of us through the Scorpio season had like a lot of transitions that happened, a lot of like physical, metaphorical deaths and things like that. And then in tarot, with the progression that I've been writing about, is after you die, this isn't the end of the major arcana. Death isn't at the end. It's smack dab in the middle. Well, justice is right in the middle, to be fair. But it's in the middle, which means there's a whole progression that's going to happen with these other cards, where I'm just going to mention real quick. So we just got done in Scorpio, so kind of think the end of October, the beginning of November. Once you go through the death period, then you go into temperance. So if you think about like the cycles of life, like a lot of people tend to believe that when you die, there's like an in-between place you go to, like a liminal space where you can go over like life reviews and everything like that. And we're talking like when you die, like when you go to the other worlds and you go to that liminal space. And we kind of see that represented in the temperance card. So you see the figure of death, it comes for us all, but then you're greeted with an angel who's balancing. So you have like the Mott story about getting your into like your heart weighed to the feather, and also talking about this liminal space with your foot in one world and then your other foot on the earth. So it's kind of this place where you're not quite there yet. In the temperance card, I don't know if you can see this very well, Rocks, but in the background, you can see the sun right here, and then you see this progression of light that happens. And so I kind of wanted to talk about the progression of light with tarot along with the Wheel of the Year that we're discussing. So right now in Sagittarius, we are in the temperance card phase, I guess what we're saying. And we're moving towards the end of December, beginning of January, which is going to be Capricorn. And then that's going to be moving into the Devil. So after you go through your transition, and then you go to that liminal space where you have to continue on this path towards enlightenment, the next thing you're faced with is your shadow. So between December and the early January, so like right here at Yule, will be like in the realm of like the Devil card, where it's talking about like your subconscious and your shadows and where you give your power away to. Whenever the Devil comes up in card readings, when I read for people, I try to say, it looks like you're not making your own decisions right now. Something or somebody else is making those decisions for you. And you get the opportunity to look at those things, work with those things, and then you get to move on in this beautiful progression within the tarot and then within the Wheel of the Year. Because then you move on to the Tower. Once you find those things that aren't serving you anymore and you want to release them, then the towers start to fall away. And then same thing when you get to the beginning of the year. The next thing is going to be the Star card. And then the Star card, with the progression of light we were just talking about, like you don't get to the sun immediately, so you don't get to Beltane on here immediately, because that's just going to be too much light at once when we just went through the dark times. So you have to go through it carefully. And the same thing with your consciousness. Like, you don't want to be asleep and then instantly know all of the information that the gods have to tell you, and like being one in your own godhood, it takes slow steps so that you can acclimate to it.
You can get the metaphysical bends if you can do fast.
Word. So then you have the Star, which is hope, and then it's healing after the trauma of the Tower. So you go through the trauma of the Tower, and then you have the Balm, that is the Star card, like Imbolc energy, very soft, rebirthing. And then you go to the Moon, and then the Moon's all about a little bit more light, but not so much. You're still dealing with shadows in the corners because the Moon does illuminate stuff, but not clearly quite yet. And then you make your way to the Sun, and it's going to be talking about, that's when you get that, oh, there it is, but you're still not quite at the end of the progression of the major arcana, but you are to that point of consciousness where now things make more sense. There is some pain when it comes with the Sun card too, because now you see things clearly, even the things that suck. So you're like, ooh, I was kind of living in like the devil energy, and I was kind of living in that like tower devil for a little bit too long and letting other people make decisions for me. But now that I'm conscious of those things, I can actually do something about it. And then we have the sun, obviously, as you get to Letha. So as you go around, and then we get to Letha down here. So, with that, because of where we are right now, since we're wanting to talk about the sacred stillness and everything, the Temperance card is fantastic for, like, meditation. This comes up a lot, like, when there's too much substances of any kind, like if you're drinking too much coffee, drugs, alcohol, like anything that you feel like is out of balance can come into balance with a card like Temperance. It's basically saying if you are doing too much of one thing, we want to come into, like, a place of stasis. So yeah, that's my little thing I want to talk about. So work with Temperance for now, and then once Yule hits, then we'll be moving into the Devil card. So that will be a good time to look at the things that you give your power away to.
Yay!
We did it.
I wanted to open it up to the gallery here. If anyone had any reflections on the energy of right now, what's been going on in this time of rest between Samhain and Yule, and how you've been experiencing the energy right now. If anyone here would like to share, or of course online too. Feel free to.
Yeah, everybody wants to get on and chitty chat.
Phone lines are open.
Just don't call though. I don't want to talk on the phone.
Be crazy if your phone rang.
I know. Oh my god. Spam? What are you doing, Monica?
What am I doing?
Yeah, I've been seeing lots of fun, like,
What a great
outdoorsy pictures
question.
you've been posting.
Well, like, I'm always trying to be outside. I always want to be outside. Whenever I'm driving, I look at the mountains and I'm like, why am I not in them right now? Every time. That's interesting about, I didn't realize that in some traditions the north is air, because I've only ever heard it as earth, and I'm going to play with that, I think, because it feels more air. I feel more air, like I've been thinking about that, and I guess like sort of collectively I sort of feel like I feel a lot of rebirth.
Yeah.
Like major.
Mhm.
Major. Like
Well, that-
yesterday especially.
That would correspond with the god and goddess cycle at Yule, where the god comes from wraith form back from the
The other world.
the other world, from Gungus, as far as this cycle.
Some Gaelic words that have letters in it that don't need to be there.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
kidding. We like it.
For real. Hey, can I just say really fast? So I'm actually learning to sing in Gaelic and Irish, and this group called Utopia does this Celtic Christmas concert every year, and I did it last year, and I'm doing it this year, and like we're singing a bunch of the same stuff, and I'm learning all these like Celtic words in Gaelic and Welsh.
Yeah, well,
Holy
like,
crap.
I'm so sorry.
It's insane. But I'm sort of just like, it's my second year doing it, and so I'm sort of just like letting it wash out of me. Like what is, it's sometimes it comes out right, but
I love that.
it's like
so
totally speaking in tongues. Okay, sorry, I'm done. Thank you.
Speaking of
No, that's
talent.
great.
No, I love that so much. So is it a performance? Do you want to plug it on the thing?
Yes, I do.
Plug your performance.
It's okay. It's this week, I think. What is today?
Today's Sunday, the 15th.
It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Saturday night at I'm not sure if it's 7 or 7:30 at St. Mark's Cathedral in downtown Salt Lake.
Ooh, so be there at 5. Spend some time.
Yeah, or if you want. But yeah, in the evening on Saturday and Sunday, and then on Friday and Saturday, and then on Sunday at 5. And it's like donation based. I think it's like they recommend a donation of like $20 or something.
Dude.
Yeah, it's very good.
Very good.
That's super rad. I didn't know you sang like that.
Sometimes, once a year.
I miss choir. We should start a thing.
We should start there.
I'm down.
I
Let's
would
do
join
Bacon choir.
so fast.
It'd be fun.
What
I've
about
actually,
over there? What about you, Sonora?
I've been actually attending Episcopal services because I've wanted to feel that sense of ritual and connection. And my God, it's the most fun I've had in church in a long time. But this is my first year watching this celebration of Advent. This is my first time being a part of the liturgical calendar. And there's something kind of special about this time of year that I never really got in the practice that I originally came from. There's something anticipatory. It's all about building up to the day. Because I remember growing up, it was always, oh, we're excited for Christmas. Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming. It's all about celebration of Jesus and all that. But with Advent, it's like, no, not just this, but there is a whole lead up to why we're excited about this. Let's focus on the very beginning and work all the way forward up into Christmas. It's like,
what is can you tell me more about, because I've heard people talk about doing Advent, but I don't know what you do for Advent.
So,
if you want to.
Full disclaimer, I am just as green to that as I am to this. So.
Well, I'd love to hear through your eyes.
So basically, the way that I understand Advent, Advent is the celebration of the coming of Jesus. Starting from, it's not just talking about, we don't start from the nativity story. We start from the prophecies. We start from the talking in the Old Testament to the prophecies of the different prophets are like, this is coming, this person is coming, going up, and it's talking about all the points that every single week we talk about the things that lead up to, the things that this is what was before, this will come when he comes. And so next Sunday is the last day of Advent, and then it'll be Christmas Eve. And again, I'm still very new to this, so I'm watching this all for the first time, but it's sort of, it's kind of inspiring to see how much ritual and excitement goes into it as someone who's been exploring ritual with Hazelwood and with Utah Pagan Market. Seeing they have the Advent wreath that I'd only heard of, but now I get to see it. They light a candle every week for each Sunday in Advent, and it's very intentional setting of, this week we're celebrating this week we're celebrating this, and there's different colors associated with it that I'm still trying to remember, but it's an active anticipation of the joy that is to come. So in a way, there is still like the whole Christmassy excitement of getting ready for like the Christmas part, but at the first Sunday of Advent, they basically handed out like a calendar of readings. It said, this is a time to be excited, but also take time to sit and be still and learn and read about Jesus. And again, as you guys were talking about sitting in stillness, it's like, we're not just talking about hectic, crazy Christmas preparations. We're not talking about inactivity and doing nothing. There is a balance of the two, of actively preparing and anticipating for something to come, but not wearing ourselves out about it. And because of this, I've actually started going, kind of leaning back into my own, what I didn't realize was a meditative practice of just sitting down at my keyboard and just plunking music out on it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize it till my husband pointed it out. It's like, you kind of go a little...
You get in the zone.
You get in the zone when you do that. And it's like, oh, I can do that. Yeah. So, and it's kind of been nice to kind of sink into it and kind of sink into that space. Be like, I'm resting myself. I'm still doing something. My brain is still working. I can feel it. But again, it's also this peaceful anticipation of something to come without the frantic, frenetic nature of everything, which has been such a nice change from the last couple of years. And just, just this peaceful joy of community with others, but also, yes, this is a time for being with the self in whatever form it is.
Now, you said you were going Episcopalian right now. Have you ever done a Catholic liturgical year?
I've been once.
Their Advent is also incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, my friend actually, when my husband and I first got married, he invited us to a midnight mass for Christmas.
Oh, I've heard about those.
It was
That
gorgeous.
sounds so cool.
It was amazing, and my Episcopal church is doing a midnight mass this year as well. And I'm so excited. There's just something about, again, it's the ritual and the intention behind every single thing that's done, every word, every song. It's just,
The group mechanisms of making meaning.
yes. It's something that appreciated, and now that I'm getting it in different ways than I had when I was growing up, it's like, okay, okay, this is, ooh, all right, this is a lot. I like it.
Well, it's like how all cultures have something similar, like you were talking about they light a candle once a week, but we did that for the 5 dark days for our tradition where so it leads up to Yule, so like 4 days before Yule you like do all these different things and you light a candle on the Yule log and everything. And then I know there's like a concert they do in New York, I think, where it's like a big orchestra thing, but like it starts off in darkness and they slowly like light different candles. And it's kind of that same thing with the progression with the tarot we were just talking about, starting off in darkness and then going up towards the light too. So like, oh yeah, lighting all the candles. See, like and that's what I always say. My favorite part of Christmas is the Christmas lights, because like it's to bring light back because it's cold and dark and sad, and so like anywhere you can bring light, and it's just fascinating that all these different cultures and practices all have some kind of a thing about bringing light back because we all collectively need that during this time.
Isn't that fabulous that when you study more of this is just my whole thing I get so excited about, but when you find disparate methodologies and they say the same thing, not because you're not like, well, this one's right and this one's wrong, but they're tuned into the flow, to the way of things, the Tao, however you want to say it, that this is what many traditions do at this time, not because they're borrowing from each other, stealing from each other, or anything like that, but because it's just the way things are right now. This is the time of rest. This is, if you're tuned into the flow, this is what you're doing right now. And I love that because I feel like that's the closest to finding truth, is when you find commonalities like this between systems.
Concurrent evolution, because the crab. Everything becomes crab.
Everything eventually becomes crab.
Correct.
Is that a thing?
So the shape,
I was like, is that
crab,
a
the crab form is so evolutionarily successful that a bunch of different life forms have evolved into crab-like forms just because it's so successful. It's such a great form to have if you want to survive on this planet, right?
Crab people.
Yes.
Crab people.
And they didn't evolve from each other. They evolved on their own. It's just that this is a great way to be, and it's in line with the flow of things, and it makes sense to be shaped like that. So.
And humans are interesting. Life is interesting. Like, all of this is so interesting.
Yeah, but it's like carcinization.
I had a dream about crabs last night. That's really, I was just like, it was actually kind of sad because it was like, it doesn't matter. Well, there was a part where they were like getting incinerated by something. Like, there was like these different forms, and I was like, oh no.
We're gonna talk later.
Maybe I'm going through something.
No, I love that. Oh, that lights me up. I love that.
Because it's also the moon card, because you have like the little crustacean thing coming out of the moon card, and like Cancer.
That's so crazy. I was just talking with my doctor the other day, but
No!
Never mind.
I was gonna say which kind of crabs.
Take it back.
Well, it's on the internet forever now.
No!
Turn it off, Kit. Turn it off.
Nope. Anyway, intentionality in these dark days.
Intention. So,
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I don't even know what
Better
I'm
not.
Let's
So
go
what
back.
is everybody doing? No, you.
Well, I wanted to say, you were talking about getting out in nature right now, which a lot of people don't because it's snowing. I'm not going to hike in the snow. Well, get some spikes for your shoes and go hiking out in the snow. It's amazing. Yeah. We were doing that a lot last year, doing a lot of group hikes, and it's easy, for me, it's easy to appreciate the mountains here. Well, I mean, anyway, but to appreciate them in the summer, in the fall especially, or something like that. But there's a certain something of hiking in the snow, everything's quieted down. You can still... Oh, yeah, and just the energy of the earth-lying fallow, the energy of peace, of calm, and feeling that as the earth, and not that you should attune with the earth, because you are the earth as well. Just tuning into what you are. This is what the earth is doing, but it's what you're doing because you're part of it. You're part of it like the trees. You're part of it like the rivers. You are it as well. And the more attuning, like you say, when you get out there and just get that feeling of just deep stillness, deep rest, and it's as amazing as the brilliant colors in the spring or the fall or anything like that.
It's almost like the snow is muting everything around you on purpose so that you can hear inwards rather than outwards.
I have a distinct memory of my first semester of college, my first time being away from home for any length of time, and I remember going on a walk with one of the people that lived in my dorm building. I was having a rough night, couldn't sleep, and we went on a walk around campus in the snow at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was so quiet, so still. Like I could hear a car passing every now and then, but it was kind of like that muffled kind of sound. There's something kind of hypnotic about watching snowfall that kind of lets you kind of zone out.
It's like it's trying to lull you.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do after we got our cat was just lay in our room with the curtains open, have her just sitting on my stomach and watching the snowfall. There's just something meditative and quiet and still about it that it didn't really like, it doesn't bring me like fireworks of inspiration for me personally, but it was more like, okay, this is a stillness, I've had some time, okay, time to move the cat and do something else.
Well, I like that because like the holidays do tend to like get you super like dysregulated, and so having those moments to be able to like calm yourself down so then you can go back into the parties. And I think like the Christmas parties and everything are also important too, because it's dark and sad, and so you do need community to come together to have like the Christmas parties, but it's important to also intentionally go back and then go back inwards, you know.
I think I also want to point out, you don't have to be out in the mountains or out beyond human population to connect with nature, to be able to see the snowfall, to look at the sky, to root into the ground underneath your feet, and to feel that connection. I think it's super kick-ass. I was lucky to live next to a canyon within walking distance my first wheel, and I did some hikes in the snow, and some shit happened, I tell you what. But not everyone has access to that, and it's not something that you have to, drive out miles and miles away from your home to do.
Because everything's nature. We're nature. The table, like, it's that idea of like animism. Like, if there's different ideas about what God is, and if you believe everything's God, then like even when you're driving in your car, you're communing with God, like the goddess, whatever you believe in is the thing. Like
this hair tie, right? The materials used to make this hair tie all came from this planet. So, also God.
Yeah.
I love that you spoke to the intentionality of it, because it's easy to just say, well, it's the time to chill, or it's the time for introspection, and maybe not take on huge practices or something like that.
Sorry, guys.
Technical difficulties.
Live stream is not live streaming because our thing fell. So now you're just gonna look at
there's the market.
Ceiling. Hey, it's the end of the retrograde, but there is that
shadow period.
We did it.
There is that 2-week like shadow period thereafter.
It's true.
Yeah. So now we're back to our regular scheduled program.
Yeah, but
Intentionality.
Mercury's still being a little sus.
Little guy. Oh, we should talk about it.
We should,
I'm going to put a pin in that, but I want you to continue what you were saying.
Okay.
But Mercury.
I was just saying the intentionality of it, because I've been trying to intentionally. Well, my idea was to intentionally take some extra rest in this this current period, this fallow time, but for the first little bit, what I was doing was just not taking on a big project or not doing anything else, but without scheduling the time. This is just for me. This is gospel according to Mike. But for me, I have to actually schedule the rest, because my default isn't rest. It's not that, well, if I'm not on a big project, then I'm resting, clearly. No, it's that kind of, I didn't get anything big done on the weekend, and go, oh, so you rested up? And it's like, somehow also no. No, I'm really stressed out about it. And,
you stayed in constriction mode, because in Reiki we always talk about, like, not all disease, of course, this isn't, like, medical, but, like, in energetic, if you're, like, constricted like this, you're more likely to get, like, disease, stress, that kind of stuff. But when you relax and flow, so you can even choose to relax where you are just like this, and, like, consciously try to relax your muscles even, so that you're not constrictive.
Oh, yeah. And we should talk about practice, but you were about to say Mercury?
Did you finish your thought about that?
Yes.
Okay. So I was taught about the Mercury retrogrades and everything, that we tend to have this idea that, like, oh no, Mercury retrograde, everything's going to suck. But it doesn't have to, because who was Mercury? Who was Hermes? They were these gods, My girl. Like, Hermes Trismegistus. I always say that wrong. Mercury, it's a time where Mercury is here, like on the ground, like going around, and so like go different places. Like if you're looking for a message and it's Mercury retrograde, don't drive the way you normally drive, go somewhere else, because that's how else are you going to get your message. Wear different colors that you don't usually wear, dress more. A teacher of mine taught me this when one of the shops I worked at. Like, you don't want to do what you always do because you might not get the opportunity to get your message from Mercury, to get your message from Hermes, if you're just kind of still doing the same thing. So don't think of it as this like, oh, this is a terrible dark punishment time period, hi Tim. Like, Mercury retrograde is a time like if the god themselves are on this planet going around, what are you going to go to do to meet that message rather than letting life just kind of happen, because then if you start having like, oh, now technology's not working, is it because you weren't supposed to be doing technology, you were supposed to be going out and meeting your destiny or something like that? Was it really technology or what?
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't even know. That's just one thing I like to think about.
Should we talk about practice?
Yes.
Meditative practices. I'm one who, with my background, I will sit down on my zafu and just do a meditation, do a silent meditation.
I'm sorry, what's this?
The thing I sit on.
Oh, stupid.
It's a comfy cushiony thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll just do sitting meditation is one thing, but a lot of people I know these days that doesn't resonate with, and I'm a little ADD. I like to be doing something while I do it. One thing that I found is really good as an active rest is you were saying walking meditation. They called it kinhin at the monastery, and the walking meditation is good. Or I'll do mala. I like doing mala work, and I'll just go through my mala one at a time and do mantra and mala.
Mantra mala.
And so I'm actively doing a resting thing, and it actually has been proven to like lower your blood pressure, and it is a restful activity, and that sort of thing. I'll do loving awareness meditation, or I'll do an invocation. If I'm doing a more energetic work, I'll do an invocation of an angel I'm working with, or something else that I'm working with, a god form, or something like that. So that's one way of walking meditation or mantra mala. Other practices.
A very basic mala thing if you wanted to try doing mala work. I have the big long ones, but you can use like the bracelets or whatever. A basic one if you want to just get started, I taught this to my niece, is you just count backwards from 100 to 0. And then like as you do, you try to visualize that number. So when you're thinking of 99, try to picture 99 in your head. And then as you go down each bead, count backwards to 0 with the intention that when you get to 0, you will be in a meditative state. So that's like a very basic 101 if you want to start working with mala beads, is to just start counting backwards. Because that's also that Sylvan technique. That was one you told me about, the Sylvan technique.
Which one?
When we count backwards from 100 and then that kind of gets you into like a meditative thing. What was that called?
Yeah, well, we've done abbreviated versions of that in ritual before and things like that. So we'll go down from like 12, but it'll be a group thing, and there's a corresponding color, and it's a
and
whole
it gets you
shtick.
into a meditative state. But that's like a very simple thing you can do if you wanted to work with mala beads.
For those who are in the Christian mystic persuasion, pondering on the mysteries of the Rosary is another one. I'm slowly learning it, but I've been able to do just the little one, just the little part of the Rosary. I've been able to do that for a little bit, and that's been very interesting as well, because again, you can use it to ponder on the mysteries, or you can use it to again get into that deeper state. So it really depends on how you, because the idea of using some sort of counting thing in a repetitive, easy to remember pattern of something, especially now that I'm learning about the Rosary and also about different types of prayer beads, like mala, it's like those things are everywhere. This thing, okay, we need to connect with the inner self, but damn, that's boring as hell. Let's count things.
Yes.
Let's count things.
Yeah, let's go 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Keeps the neurospicy brain busy while you get the soul chilled out. Also, I think Christian mysticism is extremely cool.
I think it's cool. Like, I agree.
No, that's fabulous.
One thing I like to say on my mala beads is, oh no, of course they're doing that. Like every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. I am becoming more and more. Like there's a story about a guy who would just say that to himself every day. Like every day in every way, I am getting better and better. And they found that like there were parts of his body like he should have died when he finally did, but he just every day in the mirror he's like, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. And then I like to add on, I am becoming more and more. That's just kind of like my favorite one I like to do. But every day in every way I'm getting better and better. I like that one too.
It's like
and you can do that.
Yeah, every
do you wanna
journal
talk about
entry
it?
ended with I am transforming. That was that was through my death year. That was that. Yeah, just made sure that like whatever journal entry I had, it always wrapped up to that stinger of I am transforming, and I stopped doing that right around when I began my transition, because well, here I go.
Here I go. Well, I'm doing,
Transforming.
and then off you go.
Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
I love your insights because of that, especially on change and transition. It's you've personally shown me some things that blew my mind.
Especially in accordance with the wheel too, like watching you from when you started as Letha. So the first one, like watching your transitional phases just through like Letha through the wheel of the year has also been very fascinating. Oh, I think that's you, Tim. That's you. Your coffee's ready. Japa 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 japa
Now,
japa
when I use prayer beads, I got like all kinds of mantras I like in Sanskrit, and those are all well and good. But sometimes I just come back to the word love and just really feel and experience love with each bead.
That's tough.
That's a whole thing. It's really, really good, and I love it.
I know we've got 15 minutes.
Oh.
Would you guys like to touch on what the dark days are?
Yes.
And like the 5 dark days, and what are just the dark days in general?
Okay, so
and all of that.
the 5 dark days. So think of 365 days out of the year. Those 5 extra days are considered the 5 dark days that lead up to Yule. And like it's not like an exact like, oh, it's on this day, but like that's where the idea kind of comes from, is the 365. And those are the 5 dark days of Yule.
They're at the top here, by the way, this little star, because 360 degrees on the wheel, 365 days. Here's the extra 5 up here.
Yeah, right there. Boop, boop. And each day represents something. Like there's nameless day. There's like death, murder,
dragon, nameless, and then Yule.
Yeah, and all of that like has like we don't do literal those things, you know. It's like we ponder those things.
We don't have an
These
actual
are-
dragon.
Are you ready?
These are mysteries, not
Mystery.
instructions.
Not instructions. But and then if you know much, just
Construct
a little
a dragon.
bit.
I don't know why pagans get a weird rap on this
That's
thing.
so weird. Like what? Like it's in a cult or something? So the ohms, the tree alphabet too. Like all of the vowels of the tree alphabet are in the mound, so they're like considered like they are underground, which is where we should be going during those 5 dark days. So that's part of those, but we consider the dark days from Samhain to Yule to be like the dark days, but then we have the 5 dark days of Yule. And so in the mystery, we have like the god wheel, then we have like the goddess wheel, and it's just kind of like you can look at it at yourself at like what you go through in the year. So at Samhain, the god is sacrificed to the land, and then the god goes into the tomb. That's why we flip over the cauldrons, and then the goddess is now left to the earth by herself, and then the god is then. I get kind of confused, like inseminated at Yule? Is that kind of that idea? Or was the spark brought back because the god's reborn at Imbolc and there's like a birthing ceremony? So Yule is kind of like that, like the flash, like when we were talking about bringing lights up, like some of our rituals, like we all have like lighters and we start in the dark and you just kind of start like getting some of the light coming back up, and then you plant that seed of light into the cauldron so that light can come back. And so the impregnation. Yeah, that's what I always kind of
Because
feel.
when
You
it's
need
dark
to.
and cold outside, and
What
you're
are you
with your
gonna do?
sweetheart, what are you gonna
What are you
go
coming
first?
to?
Might as well.
You might as well.
Digital, get down. Just you and me, just you and me. Thank you for singing with me. That was NSYNC. We need to put copyrights on it. I'm sorry.
Less than 9 seconds, they won't come after us.
So, thank you. So, death at Samhain, and then the impregnation period at Yule, where the cauldron is flipped back to the womb. The god is then in that form and then is born at Imbolc. And so we also see that light progression through the wheel of the year. We see it in tarot, and then we see it as the year gets brighter between the solstices. Yeah? Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better.
So that's why it's important, like we were talking about, like not intentionally doing like spell work, not intentionally doing like things to create, because right now we need to be in the germination, like the composting part of it. Like we put everything to compost at Samhain, but that doesn't mean you can immediately start having plants at Samhain. Like you put the compost down, now you have to let it do its thing. You have to let it compost. And then like you like have the place for like the germination and everything. I saw the funniest thing about how like the insanity of humans is raking up all the leaves just to put them in a plastic bag and then to put them in a freaking dump pile, you know, like.
And then they're like, oh, we need to put fertilizer on the lawn now.
Yeah.
Like, no
like
shit.
all of that
it was
is
there.
like all of that is so fascinating to me, because you just took away all that stuff when you raked up all the leaves. Because if you don't rake up all your leaves to put in a plastic bag just to go put in a landfill, you know, then that creates the blanket with which all of that life can germinate, like the mushrooms and the bugs and like the molds and all that kind of stuff that the plant needs. The bugs are sleeping.
And a lot of people do it because it's, oh, the yard looks messy. Well, bitch, it's
nature.
important to be messy sometimes.
Yeah, that's where the
That's
growth is.
Hell of the HOA.
That's right.
H.
Want a healthy lawn.
Yeah, boo. So
Really good for cleaning out the back of a truck, though.
that's true.
Truck blowers. You could.
So when you put your own
It's better
blankets
than
on them,
one.
like with the leaves and everything that's supposed to help you, what are you doing? So like everything we do is like symbolic of what you do at each of the rituals, you know. So like at Samhain, when you cut something away, be with that, you know, and then get that ready. And then while you're in this time period, maybe when you're Christmas shopping, don't spend all of your money. Try putting some in a savings or like a CD account, so then it can grow too. So like by the time in a couple of months, then you have even more physical abundance to show for it. You know, just things like that. Like what are you doing now to rest yourself up for when Imbolc comes and then we start chugging? Like,
There's also like actively composting, right? You take all the things that you learned that you cut down at the fucking harvest, right? And you take that and you look at it and you're like, okay, what are the nutrients that are in here? What can I extract? Where does that need to go?
which vegetables rotted? Which ones are still good? You know. Like,
Yep. How do I take this nitrogen and fix it in the soil and yada yada? Like, look at the things that have happened and see how you can actively work through them instead of ignoring and pushing to the side and being like, oh, holidays. Like, continue the cycle, but like see what you can take and use the nutrients from that to build in the coming year. Don't build it yet, but like, you know, you're the one doing the composting.
Yeah, inventory.
Yeah.
Like make a plan. You know, what are your action steps going to be when it's that time? You know, because anybody who's 10 steps ahead tend to just be able to do better. Like.
And also, like, thinking, not only taking inventory, but going, okay, why did I cut these things in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Why are they gone? Okay. We cut them off to make room for something. Okay. What do I need to put there now?
Yes.
Yeah.
What need was that fulfilling? It still needs to be fulfilled, and how can I do it better?
I think that's vitally important, because a lot of times we'll cut something away, but if that space isn't filled with something more productive, or there's something, you know, slated to go in there, there's new seeds being planted there, a lot of times, especially if it's something inside yourself that you're trying to drop, if you're not replacing that behavior with something else, a lot of times you'll just attract that behavior back to you,
because
and
that's
it'll
what you
just
fell back.
regrow there because it's used to being there. And
Habits.
so this is a very, yes, you're in the habit of doing that thing, and this is in this research phase is good to say, what are these triggers? Do I need a habit stack this with something else? Do I always do this when I do A, and then I automatically go to B? Well, maybe B needs to be, or A needs to be attached to something else. That sort of thing, so you don't accidentally attract back what you cut away at Samhain, which is really easy to do, let me tell you.
Very easy to do, because it's easy.
And then if we're not doing energetic practices, just considering, as we've been talking about, what we do in the meantime, like grounding practice is a good one, which there's a lot of ways to do it, but literally even just grounding. Take your shoes off and go step on the soil somewhere. And just spend 5 minutes breathing and feeling the energy of the earth coming into you. Just something as simple as that.
Yeah, putting your hands in the dirt, touching trees.
Getting into your body and out of your mind.
Yeah,
Like,
touch
yeah,
your
touch the
grass. You need to touch some
grass.
grass.
Hug a tree.
Yeah. Hug a
That's
tree.
several. Hug a dead
Interact with water as well. Interact with all the elements as you can.
With hand chakras, like when you're doing like something like Reiki or quantum touch, like activating your hand chakras in different ways, like putting them in water kind of helps, especially like salt water or something like that. You can put your hands in those and it can like help activate your hand chakras.
Or maybe holding them around a candle is going to help you more.
yeah.
People connect differently to different elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that like back to what you were talking about earlier, where like the pinnacle of the wheel of the year. It's like, well, in my day, like, am I doing something physical and emotional? How am I getting together? But like, you can emotionally heal yourself, not just with water, but like try healing some emotional things with the different elements as well. Like, how does your emotional self respond to air activities rather than just, oh, emotions are water, I need to do all things water, you know? But how could you apply other elements to some of these different things? If you're always an earthy person, how can you bring in more fire to some of that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like mixing them, like in temperance, it came back.
Hey!
Like, hey, the temperance card. Like, how are you mixing and alchemizing the different things in your life to create something new?
Yeah. Lyra, now, is there anything you want to mention, or
Yeah.
are you okay?
No.
You're okay? All right.
Anybody else have anything else they want to share?
Yeah, any questions on this?
Or things to...
I'll also say real quick that one of the things I've been struggling with in the last couple of months is giving myself permission to rest, where I'm kind of a productivity junkie, and giving myself permission, permission, not only just like permission to rest, but permission to stop striving, stop fixing, and just give myself permission to just be, and that's tough. That's hard. I have a hard time with that because I'm often a human doing, not a human being.
A human doing.
And that's a hard one. And giving yourself that permission. This is the perfect time. Blame it on the wheel.
Blame it on the wheel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Karaoke
doing.
at 12.
But yeah, use it as an excuse to give yourself that permission if you're having a hard time giving it to yourself.
Oh, and punishment's one thing that I think keeps coming back up too. Like
No
this
need for
idea
punishments.
that we need to punish ourselves, which I feel like is ingrained in us, especially kind of like the religion of the city we live in, tends to, and not just our, but lots of religions, that like punishment. Oh, I did something like this happened, which means I must be being punished. Something happens, and your brain goes, well, I must have done something wrong when I was 3 to be getting this car accident. Like, I'm being punished. Like, drop that. That's all in your mind. Nobody is punishing you. There's not a God punishing you.
Just world fallacy.
It's just, and then that's kind of like where the existential kink stuff comes in. Like, are you kind of getting off on the punishment, or are you doing it to yourself over and over again because you're kind of liking it, you know? Like, is there any kind of value in holding that? Like, most of the time, like, if I'm punishing myself, I start realizing it's like, oh, I'm actually kind of liking this now. But then I go, oh, I see what I'm doing. And then I can drop it a little bit better.
You are not Dobby. You don't have to punish yourself. Here, take the sock. It's
Take
free
this
socks.
sock. So many socks. Yeah, we'll give you a sock if you need to stop punishing yourself.
Yeah, come on down to Athena Beans. You can have one of my socks.
Free socks.
Cool new
Okay.
idea for your Christmas
Yes.
stockings.
Something that I've kind of noticed about punishment is I've noticed that I tend to punish myself as a way of avoiding. I'm trying to think of how to say it because I don't like the punishment.
No.
I don't like it at all. But it's either punishment or something else that I'm trying to avoid. And it's an avoidance tactic. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah.
But it's either this or this, and I'm gonna take this one because that one I won't like even.
If I have to do this, then I have to do that. But I'd rather just punish myself for not doing that.
Exactly.
It's avoiding changing maybe, because I relate to
It's
that
a
a lot.
lot because it's a lot of I need to be doing this or I made a promise for this blah 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 blah, blah and then the punishment sets in and it's like okay, but I should be doing this, but I don't want to do that. But because you don't want to do it, you need to be punished for it.
It's also
Weird cycle.
Yeah, very weird cycles. Like,
it's easier to punish yourself than it is to forgive yourself.
oh my God, you should write that in the comments. Just write that somewhere. It's easier to punish yourself than it is to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah,
That
but
was
it's
a good
well
lesson.
worth learning to forgive yourself instead because
Yeah.
like it changes you.
It's freeing to forgive yourself, and that's hard. It's hard to forgive yourself.
Yeah,
'Cause-
actually, if you don't mind me
Oh, please do.
going off of that, but I was realizing I do that a lot. Like, something's going wrong, and I'm trying to like spiral down into the thing that's going wrong to like figure it out. And I realize that's not the direction of figuring it out. Like, go the other way. Like, okay, like this is feeling bad, but like, what is the thing that I would be going towards to get away from that being? I guess
Mhm.
that's what I'm about.
Like, all the
Punishing
looping.
is avoiding actually doing something differently.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's well said. Well said. And then like the spiraling thing is also like milling that we do, because like during some of the darker times we mill the opposite direction. So when you're circle casting, you want to go clockwise to build energy, and then when you go widdershins or counterclockwise, you're going down and dissolving. So it's interesting to look, all I'm doing right now is dissolving this thing, but if you're trying to build confidence and stuff, like don't dissolve into punishment, but like evolve into forgiveness.
You can slay your demons, or you can lay your demons.
Lay
and the
your
second is more
demons.
fun.
I love that. There's the old parable of when you've been shot by an arrow, you don't need to figure out, first off, okay, well, where did the arrow, how did it come through? What wood was the bow made of? How tall was the archer? No, you need to be healed. You need to tend to your wound.
Take it out.
I mean, knowing whether it was poison tip.
That is a good.
That's a good difference. Yes.
Very
Was
true,
it an
very
ash
true.
arrow?
Okay,
So
take it
I
out
think.
safely is the first priority.
Yeah.
Any other questions or reflections
Yeah, as we
before we
wrap up.
wrap up?
Comments,
Pretty
concerns,
good.
complaints.
Well, then I will close my part by saying rest is necessary, not an indulgence.
Mm-hmm.
Take the time to renew and rebuild.
It's not slothfulness to rest.
It feels like that sometimes.
You're not being a sloth by resting.
Can you gamify your resting?
Yes.
Habitica.
Like make Habitica.
Can Habitica.
We're not getting paid by
Oh, I
Habitica.
logged so many hours of rest.
That's right.
I am the serenest.
No, I have meditation, and I have like 10-minute breaks in my Habitica too, though. Like unironically, do that.
Oh, and I have this to like kind of wrap things up though, but I have a tarot course that's going to be dropping on my website at bridgetbushman.com. Rox at Ava Melody. Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah.
Ave Melody.
She recorded me, so there's your
Yay,
card.
Rox.
So you can go there, look for some of those posts like on Instagram, but you can go to my website and get that course and be able to watch all the things about the major arcana.
Link in
So-
the comments.
Link in the I can see that. Link
Smash
in the
that like button.
And subscribe.
You're gonna
Yeah.
like the way you subscribe.
I guarantee you. Okay, well, that's it. I'm Bridget. This is Loki. This is Mike. Thanks, guys, for coming.
Love you. Mwah.
And I will